and welcome back to the MoldyWorm gaming channel. My name is MoldyWorm41975, and in today's GTA 5 video I want to discuss with you guys the cars that I think could possibly come out, or cars that I think will almost definitely come out in the very near casino update. So just before we get into this video quickly, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the casino update, just to keep you guys updated with that. If you didn't know already, the casino in Grand Theft Auto is going to be opening very shortly. Now, we haven't had a confirmed release date as of when I'm recording this video from Rockstar, but it's been highly speculated that the 18th or the 26th of July are the most likely dates. So we have had a trailer from Rockstar saying it's coming out this summer, so we don't know exactly when that is. They haven't confirmed it, but it has been largely speculated it's coming out at the end of July, so in a couple of weeks. Now, we don't know anything about this DLC yet, except that the casino is going to be opening. And obviously with this update, we're going to be getting some vehicles. They're sort of implying that it's quite a luxury DLC, and in fact the casino is called the Diamond Casino Luxury Resort. The cars are going to be like is sort of big SUVs, four-door saloons, probably a lot of supercars and sports cars as well, and probably a few sort of very expensive classic cars. I want to discuss with you guys the cars that I think will almost definitely come out in this DLC, and cars that I would like to see in this DLC, but maybe not. Maybe they're not quite as, maybe they might not come out. So I'm going to start this off by discussing the cars that I think will almost definitely come out in this DLC. So cars that I think Rockstar will add, just based on the cars that are already in GTA Online and the types of cars that Rockstar like to add in DLCs. So let's get into our first vehicle, and that is the Jaguar LPace. Now, this is a newly released sort of SUV from Jaguar. It's been released in 2019. I don't know any of the specs on this car, but as you can see from the picture on the screen, it's quite a nice looking SUV. It's made by Jaguar, so it would be an Ocelot in GTA Online. And yeah, I think it's quite luxurious. It would fit quite well in this DLC, so yeah. And then moving on to our second vehicle, we have got the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Now, this is also another new, quite new SUV from Rolls-Royce, and yeah, it's quite a luxury car. I mean, Rolls-Royce is known for luxury, so it's highly likely we're going to be seeing quite a lot of Rolls-Royce Bentleys in this update. So the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, I don't know what it would be called in GTA Online, but it would probably fall under the Inus sort of family, because that's like Rolls-Royce Bentley. So yeah. Then our third car is yet again another SUV, and that is the Maserati Levante. Now, I don't know much about this car. Again, I'm not a big SUV man, but I can see a lot of SUVs coming out in this update. It's not a bad looking SUV. It's quite sporty looking. I believe it's quite fast as well. It's made by Maserati, so again, another luxury sort of car company. It's an SUV. There's not a whole lot I can say about it. It's reasonably nice looking, and I think it would work quite well in GTA Online. And then our final SUV that I want to talk to you guys, I promise you there's no more SUVs, but that is the Bentley Bentayga. So this is it's a fairly new car. I think it was launched in 2016 or 2017, so it's a little bit older than the SUVs we've been looking at, but it's still a very luxurious SUV. It's made by Bentley, as I mentioned, so it would probably fall under the Anus family. It's reasonably nice looking. I'm not a huge fan of the Bentayga, but I'm sure some people are. It's another SUV, so it's definitely a luxury car. And yeah, I'm sure some people will like it. I don't personally like it, but I'm sure some people probably will. Okay, and then moving on to finally a supercar, and that is the Bugatti Divo. So we already have the classic Bugatti in the game, which is the Z-Type. We have the Adder, which is based on the Bugatti Veyron, and we have got the Bugatti Chiron, which is the Nero in GTA Online. So I can see them very much adding the Divo in this update. It's a very sort of new supercar. They could price this quite highly. I reckon this will be priced around the 2-3 million mark. It'll probably one of the most expensive supercars we'll get. I hope that it'll be highly competitive. I would feel like Rockstar will want to make it competitive so people will buy it. It's relatively nice looking. I'm not a huge fan of supercars, but I do like the Divo. I think it's alright. So yeah. Then our next car, we have the McLaren Speedtail. So this is a interesting looking supercar made by McLaren. It's very new. It's a 2019 supercar. So we know that Rockstar like to add new cars that get released. So I can very much see them adding the Speedtail because it's sort of an interesting looking supercar, but I think it will appeal to a lot of people, and if they make it highly competitive and give it some good customization, I think this could be a very successful supercar in GTA Online. I think it will be quite highly priced though, probably around the 2 million mark, 2.5 million mark. It's relatively nice looking. I'm not a huge fan of supercars, like I said, but it's not bad, and if they give it some good customization, I think it will go down quite well. Then our final car on this list is sort of a little bit of an outlier, but I wanted to include it because we've already got the i8 BMW in GT Online, which is, I can't remember what car it is, but we do have the i8 in GT Online already, and I can see them very much adding the i3 into GT Online. It's sort of an older car. It's been out now for a couple of years, but it is still sort of luxury. It's also electric, and we know that Rockstar do like to add electric cars. So I could see this one being priced a little bit cheaper, maybe around the 500 grand mark or something like that. If they give it some decent customization and some really cool stock wheels, I think it could go down quite well. If they make it electric as well, people will probably go for this car because it'll be one of the cheaper cars, I imagine, in this update. So I think if they release this car, it would go down okay in GT Online. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the second part of the video, which is cars that I would personally like to see in this DLC. They're cars that would fit in this DLC, just like the cars we've seen, but they're sort of a little bit less likely and a little bit more tailored to my tastes. So you'll probably notice from this list that a lot of the cars are classic cars. I'm a classic car guy, so just go with it. We're going to start it off straight off the bat with sort of two cars, and that is the Bentley T1 and the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. Now, as you can see from the footage, both these cars are very similar. One's made by Rolls-Royce, one's made by Bentley, but they're almost identical. Now, I could see Rockstar sort of taking inspiration from both these cars and mashing it into one car. Now, I think this car, it would definitely fall under the Inus family because it's Rolls-Royce Bentley. But it does look quite similar to the Inus Super Diamond that we already have in game. So I could quite easily see Rockstar adding this as the Inus Super Diamond Classic, because it sort of looks like that, but it's a classic. We've received the Inus Stafford in the Nightclub DLC, which is sort of an old Rolls Royce. So I could see Rockstar adding another old Rolls Royce or Bentley in this update, but maybe sort of going for the 70s era now. So yeah, it's another nice car and I really like it. Now, the next car we have on the list is sort of a unique one, and that is the BMW M1. Now, we already have sort of got the BMW M1 in GT Online, and that is the Ubermacht SC1. It does draw inspiration from the BMW M1, but it's not sort of a direct copy of the M1. So I'd like to see a more retro looking, sort of closer version of the M1 rather than the sort of modern looking SC1. But I'd like to see an original M1 in GT Online. And then the third car we have on our list is the Ferrari 308. Now, I'm a big fan of the Magnum PI TV series. So, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a detective show set in Hawaii, and his personal car, well, it's not actually his car, but the car he drives around is a Ferrari 308. And it's a really nice looking car, classic Ferrari. It's got the pop-up headlights. It's also in the T-top. So it's quite a sporty looking car. I think it's mid-engined as well. And it's sort of like a luxury car, you know, it would be under the Grotti family because it's a Ferrari. It's a pretty cool looking classic. It's also from a TV show. So we know how much Rockstar like to take inspiration from TV shows. So I could see them adding the 308 because it's in the Magnum PI TV series. Personally, it's a really cool car for me. I really like the car. It's a classic supercar, and I think people would really enjoy it. And then our next car is a little bit bigger than the 308, and that is the 1960 Cadillac Eldorado. So I could see this going a few ways with Rockstar. They could either have it in a drop top version, or they could have it in a hard top version, or they could give you the option of buying it in hard top and allowing you to remove the roof. Personally, I think that would be the best way about going about it, because some people might want the drop top, some people might want the hard top. They might also add the estate version, sort of the hearse version, which is the Ghostbusters car. So we know that Rockstar like to take inspiration from TV shows, as I just said. So they might sort of add little hints to Ghostbusters with this car. I don't think they're going to go full on Ghostbusters with this car, just because it's sort of like a luxury DLC, and I would not consider that car a luxury car. But the Eldorado standard is quite a luxury car. I mean, it's a Cadillac. Cadillac are known sort of for luxury, you know, high rollers, that type of thing. It's a really nice looking classic. And I think people would really like to have this car in GT Online. Personally, I would love to have this car, especially in a Ghostbusters sort of like style, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that quite likely, although it would be cool, yeah. But the Cadillac Eldorado stock, the 60s Cadillac Eldorado stock, could be really cool. Then our next car, we've got a classic British car now, and that is the Jaguar EType. Now, we did receive the Ocelot Swinger back in the Nightclubs DLC, and that sort of had some, it did take a little bit of inspiration from the E-Type, but it was primarily based off another old Jag, which I can't remember the model of at the moment. But it did have the Union Jack livery on it, so it would be really nice if we got an E-Type with that livery on as well for the Queen and Country livery. Or even if we don't, just a classic E-Type with the V12 in would be really nice in GTA Online. It's another classic British car, but it's also sort of fits with the luxury style, so I think people would really like that car. Now the next car is a little bit quirky, and you can see from the photo it might not look like a luxury car, but it is based off the Jaguar XJ12, the 1974 Jaguar XJ12, which is a luxury car, and I could very much see Rockstar adding that car just stock. But it would be really cool if we could get the version with the blower on, because we know that Rockstar like to take inspiration from the Roadkill TV series, which is where this car is from. Now, if you don't watch that program or you don't have a clue what that's about, basically they took a Jaguar XJ12 that you can see, they removed the stock engine and they put a small block Chevy V8 in, and then they supercharged it and put the bug catcher on. Now, I can see Rockstar adding it as a stock car and having this as an upgradable feature, or sort of as an upgradable hood option. Now, personally, I think that would be really cool, because I'm a big fan of the Roadkill TV series. We already have the Stubby Bob wheelie sort of truck, which is the Apocalypse Vapid Slam van, and we've also got another Roadkill car, which I can't think right now. So we know Rockstar like the Roadkill TV series. This is another really cool car. The stock XJ12 is a very luxurious car, and if they gave us the option of the blower hood, then we could convert it to the Roadkill version and sort of make it look like a drag car. So personally, I'd really like to see that car. And then coming down to our final two, we've got a very sort of classic car, but I can very much see Rockstar adding the classic GT40. This is the Ford GT40 we're looking at now. And the reason that I think Rockstar might add this car is because of a movie that's coming out very soon. Now, if you don't know about the movie, it's called Ferrari versus Ford, and it's sort of a historic movie about the race, the Le Mans race, and the rival between Ferrari and Ford. So Ferrari dominated the Le Mans circuit in France, and Ford decided that they wanted to build a car that could rival and defeat the Ferrari, and they came up with the GT40. So they worked very closely with Carroll Shelby to develop this car, and it actually did go on to beat the Ferrari in the Le Mans race. And there's a movie coming out about that very shortly, which they feature the GT40 in, and I could very much see Rockstar either adding a GT40, which is a little bit more iconic than the Ferrari, so I probably would say they'd add that more than the Ferrari, but there's a chance they would add the Ferrari instead of the GT40. But we already have a new Ford GT, which is the Vapid Bullet, so I could see them having a Vapid Bullet Classic in GTA Online and having the Ford GT40. And the final car today, you guys are probably sick of seeing this car on my YouTube channel, but it is probably my second favourite car of all time. Classic Mini obviously being the first, but the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, especially the Daytona featured in Fast and Furious 6, which you can see now. Muscle cars are not really considered luxury cars or sort of like high-end cars. However, the Daytona version that they use in Fast and Furious is actually purchased from sort of a very wealthy like car collectors show. So if you've not seen the film, spoilers, basically The Rock and Tej go to purchase a bunch of cars for sort of the crew to use in the film, and they go to this very sort of luxurious, high-end sort of resto mod car show to purchase all these classic muscle cars, and amongst the lineup is the Daytona. So the fact that that was featured in that sort of high-end scene makes me feel like it's like sort of a high-end car. We already have the 1969 Dodge Charger, sort of the regular version, which is the Imponte Dukes. We know that Rockstar very much like the Fast and Furious franchise. I can't understand why they haven't added this car sooner, but if they modified the Dukes we already have in game and made it look like the Daytona from the Fast and Furious franchise, then I think this would go down very well with classic car collectors. I'm a classic muscle car collector in GT Online, so this would definitely go straight in my garage. I think it will be priced probably around the 500 grand mark. It's sort of a luxury car, but it's a really nice looking car in my opinion. That's it for me though. These are some of the cars that I think will be added, and some of the cars that I would personally like to be added in the Casino DLC in GT Online, which is hopefully coming in the next few weeks. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the matter in the comment section down below. Which cars do you think will be coming in this update, and which cars would you like to see as well? But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.